Tack så mycket. Thank you very much for the invitation to this forum. It's really an honor to be here and share some of our experiences we have together. It's about together, and it's about collaboration. And we already seen very impressive demos live here and the movies which are really inspiring for the future. So we move on here. Yes, we do. So if we look up in our airspace, wherever we are nearly, it's used to be empty, but it's fully booked. And that is one of our duties, to change that, to unlock the airspace, to make this happen, to make all these applications be there. And for instance, if we do a very simple calculation over Oslo, maybe the inhabitants like to do 1 delivery a year. That means a lot of deliveries. It may mean up to 2,000, 3,000 deliveries a day over Oslo. And we heard about the drone taxis. For instance, another calculation, if 4% uses a drone taxi once a year, that means close to 30,000 trips a year. So the airspace may be crowded. It will be crowded. And we may note about it, and we may take note of it, or not. We heard about it. We don't know. So that's why we introduced this interactive visualizations tool for communications with society and to work with the regulator and the industry, in the drone industry, to find out what could be the consequences, what do we need. And it's about to work together, as Mr. Josefsson also stressed. It's a key issue to work together with the users, with the regulators and the authority. And to me, this is a very urgent issue, actually, because it happens now. We saw it recently. Amazing. Safety, it's in our blood, of course, because we work with safety and air traffic management and air traffic services. But again, the focus to make best use of the airspace, which is the real asset here, the airspace. How to unlock the airspace, to make it available. And include a human in this process, of course. It will be very important that the humans are there, because we have to prove that this is safe and so on. And there might be situations where the humans have to intervene, to steer, and to do things. Me, as a former air traffic controller, I will be totally obsolete to the future. It will be completely different. I may have a function like an airspace manager or something like that, but we will see where it happens. So the project we are going to brief you on is the project UTM 50 on traffic management. 50 meters and below was the original title, basically. So it focuses on the service over Norrköping city, which is a 120,000 people city, south of Stockholm, close to another city, the same size, Linköping, and on the other side we had Nyköping. So there is some of these medium-sized cities there. And we're looking on the services that could be applicable. We're also looking on the regulations and how this could be integrated with the ongoing traffic. Detect and avoid, local and global. We think it's important. Maybe it's not important in the future. We will see. We will find out. The human, again, we show you how we could supervise the airspace capacity and the safety of the airspace. And also, we use this for general briefings and presentations to society to find out what is the issues. And a lot of things is about to inform the society and allow them to ask questions and learn what will happen. We also had other projects dealing with safety and risk assessment to implement with the stakeholders and the regulators, and also about the trajectory and planning and so on. But now we'll focus on this UTM project. And it's a research project, state-funded, and the focus is on the later, more advanced level, U3 and U4, which we already see some of these applications are already here. So it happens very fast. Jonas, how about some action?
Yes. So let's see how to deal with this influx of drones. Well, you saw previously how it was restricted to a roadmap there in the previous talk. Here we are looking at the different concepts of operation, which is autonomous direct point-to-point, because that's the first thing everyone suggests. Why can't we just go from A to B directly? So let's start with that. And we're looking at a detect and avoid scheme that we have in our concept of operation, where registered drones are being separated by a global system, or maybe a local cloud of drones separate with the registered drones, and then there has to be an onboard system or a pilot to take care of other things like birds and rogue drones and such things. And the human role will be to manage airspace capacity, not to separate each drone manually in our concept. However, there will be some need for restricting traffic as well. If we look at this picture, you see here, for instance, some areas where we don't want any drones at all because you want quiet fishing time. Over here, in the other corner, you have an emergency transport maybe needs to get priority, and all the other traffic needs to move to the side. Below, you see crowded areas. Maybe there are commercial reasons to restrict traffic over a concert. Maybe there are security reasons to restrict traffic over a demonstration. So we need to be able to add restriction zones. Also, we can see we have looked at different services and to see how they work over the day. For instance, you start with business deliveries in the morning. You have maybe a bank robbery in the middle of the day, police drones coming out. You have online shopping. Maybe someone has a 1 hour delivery service in the evening. And maybe some food court deliveries in the middle of the day. As you see, there will be different traffic patterns that can also create traffic interference that we need to take care of. Let's skip this one. And let's have a look at this detect and avoid. You see the green circles here. They are just measures of distance, whereas the red circles are measures where it starts to detect and avoid. And as you see, they separate by sliding around the edges of these circles here. That's how the detect and avoid works in this scheme, and it leaves a little red spot behind, a heat map for the traffic manager to observe. However, people will use a dashboard, we believe, to manage the traffic. They will look at this dashboard, and they will look at the top point is just the number of drones. In Linköping City, you have 126. In this picture, it's not an unlikely number, actually. At some point of day, this is a reasonable number. Then we have the 94%. That's an efficiency measure. So that's 94 are going directly A to B. The 6% are engaged in detect and avoid. So if that number drops, you see that you have a lot of detect and avoid going on. That is going to use a lot of electricity, for instance. Then you have the next one, path efficiency. It's dropped to 90% in this picture. That means that we have a lot of geofences. That means that the roads are getting extended, which will impact the delivery services, their calculation of how many stops they can make, and so on. And finally, we have a safety measure. The number of drones that are in conflict, are engaged in detect and avoid, and the number below are the infringements, the situations where they are not able to do this because of congestion. So the basic tools, geofences, detect and avoid, all of that is already known, right? But what happens when we put all of that together? Then what? Will it work? If we have a geofence, let's see this one. If we have a geofence and detect and avoid, well, how will that work? Look at this here. You have the geofence over here. You see this area over here in this direction on this side of this star, the drone there with the star. We will go look at that in more detail. So we have the airport geofence here. and you have a lot of drones going along the edge. Do you see that? So let's have a look what happens when we combine a geofence with this detect and avoid scheme that we had previously. Oh, it doesn't play the video. That's unfortunate. I don't know why. Ah, there we go. See what happens? The number of drones engaged in detect and avoid means that this drone is pushed into the geofence, right? Over the edge of the geofence. So these two schemes do not work together. So here we need to have some other scheme for detect and avoid, right? We have to do something else. This is a second order effect when we combine them. And look at this. We have a geofence, we have traffic, and you see what happens here. This is not nice, right? But maybe you want this area to be really calm and quiet, and look at that. Everyone wants to take the shortest path, and you get an enormous choke point here, right? So this is, and so far we have no drone failures, nothing. We're just combining airspace tools. So we need to do something about that. And maybe this is one way of doing it, layering. And in this scheme, we will look at layering, where for each degree of flight, you have a different altitude to fly on. So let's have a look at that. So we have Norrköping Airport here. You see how close to the city it is. And we have enclosed it into the geofence that it actually needs. So we are not using a 6-kilometer radius. We are using just the geofence that it actually needs. And you see all the traffic, how we get these choke points again. And now we're activating the layers. So you see, depending on the traffic direction, that gives us this rainbow scheme you see here. They're going in slightly different directions. However, what we're going to see here is that on the edge of the geofence, they will converge on only 2 layers, because they're going in one direction there and one direction there. So we, instead of having 360 levels of slightly different altitudes, we only get 2. So it doesn't really work in the edge of the geofence where we need it the most. So again, and you say, well, we can use a different scheme. Well, every scheme will have side effects when combined with another scheme, right? And here's another picture, just a reminder that although we have minimized this geofence, we still need maybe to make use of all the times where there's no aircraft landing. We have one aircraft here, one here, and maybe we can sneak a drone delivery across. And this will require automated tools, a set of new automated tools for the controllers to use. Let's skip that. And here we have a sad situation. We have this, here is a delivery hub, and we have one over here. And unfortunately, this hub delivers over here because they want a contract, and that hub have won a contract over here. And you see how they go, and here's the railroad. This is why they are both near the railroad, right? You see they go across each other, right? This is not going to work. They're going to get a tremendous amount of conflicts when they go up and down to the hubs here. So we will need some way for the controllers to design traffic rules for this specific situation. And back to Bill Josefsson for a conclusion.
So, a quite short overview of the project. Usually we have a dome when doing this with the audience and use 1 or 2 hours. So that could happen. Maybe we see you next time there. Anyway, if we look at the conclusions based on this, there's a few principles coming up. Traffic will be autonomous to a large extent, and we have to check out the airspace, monitor it through the dashboard. We think the dashboard is a key, not only for us, for society, for police, and so on. To understand the capacity of the airspace and monitor the efficiency of the airspace and the efficiency of the tools, how we structure the traffic. and the levels of automation will be far away what we have today. That's why we need things to try to imagine what it could look like. These should be hidden. Maybe they are in the UTM. All right. So to sum up very quickly, the UTM system we all longing for. It must be very interactive and work in real time and understand the constraints in the airspace and publish that the airspace designs and the current rules to make it very efficient, and also keep track of the capabilities and in particular the navigation performance. We saw amazing navigation performance of this little drone. If we include that when we calculate how to use the pieces of airspace, we can achieve a lot and be very efficient. And second-order issues, we saw some of them, they will emerge, and we will have to be alert and work together to understand what that is. New components like new automation tools, we need that, and that will be developed to take care of the airspace rules and so on. And again, the dashboard are required, and how we use that information in the dashboard to society and to the relevant authorities. That would be also an interesting issue to look forward. And hopefully we could also have exchange, like in this forum, in a wider context also. And yes, we invite you all to come back and talk to us during lunch, and we have to leave after lunch, basically. So thank you for the attention.